welcome and thank you for joining us. Today we are discussing the frustration that marketers face when it comes to choosing between support for brand or performance. Our advice, don't choose. I am Terri Cameron, the Director of Media Strategy at Jan Kelly, and today we're talking about building brand and driving conversions with powerful full funnel creative. Joining me is Kate Petrie, an innovative leader in the space. Kate, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, of course, and thank you for having me on today. I have been in the advertising game for almost 20 years now. I'm currently one of the creative directors at Jan Kelly here, and I have just developed a great passion for sort of the strategy behind the creative, the insights that we pull in order to land on a great idea and really bringing that to life, as well as seeing how they perform out in the world, and I think that's what we're here to talk about today.
Well, let's dive right in. We are hearing that the need to harness full funnel creative is more important than ever. Kate, what has changed that's driving the focus on this?
Well, what we're seeing is that historically people have really thought about upper funnel brand work as creating demand and then performance marketing and media as really converting that demand. And with people having seen that, they've leaned into performance marketing over the last little while and performance media and really heavied up on it. But what we are seeing and what we know is that that's not enough to sustain kind of consistent growth. That brand is equally as much of a driver when it comes to building that growth and equity, and that we need both of them. So especially now when we're seeing kind of marketing budgets get cut, people are working with less. People are diving into how they get the best ROI for the work they're putting out, and we need to kind of harness that and make sure that we're getting more bang for our buck.
So your point about maximizing ROI really couldn't be more true. It's top of mind with marketers, salespeople, business owners. So I imagine that under this increased pressure, you are probably seeing mistakes being made, correct?
Absolutely. One of the things that we're seeing is people really compartmentalizing performance media and brand, not only from a campaign perspective, but from a people perspective, keeping sort of a brand team over here and a performance media team over here. And they're often on different teams. Performance media, they don't even think about brand. And really what we're seeing is that everyone ends up doing the same thing. It becomes a sea of sameness. Everything starts to look the same and it becomes a numbers game. But what we know is that brand contributes greatly to ROI as well, and that we really need to invest in that across all platforms. And by not focusing on this, marketers are really leaving a lot of money on the table.
It's really interesting because as someone who works in performance media, I see the excitement around what it can achieve, and I feel the pull to start investing more. But what you're saying is that we should maybe pull back a bit more on performance media in favor of more support for brand?
Not necessarily. Performance media can do both. It can both drive conversion and it can build brand. And when we look at creating a full funnel strategy or full funnel creative, we see three key elements come into play. You want to have powerful full funnel storytelling. You want to make sure that you have expertise across channel as well as across platform. And as well as you want to make sure that you have unique ideas coming from really unexpected insights.
So Kate, it sounds a little bit like you're unlocking the keys to the kingdom here. Do you mind if we dive in a bit more?
Absolutely.
All right. So item number one, can you talk to us a little bit more about what you mean by full funnel storytelling? What is this and how do we do it?
So you want to have a rich, fulsome narrative that really comes into play and guides your customer along the entire journey from start to finish. Whether it's from awareness to retention, they should be having one consistent voice, one consistent story, and essentially one consistent brand. That way we ensure that we're taking them along a journey and they're hearing sort of the same elements at every stage of the game.
So can I clarify, when you say full funnel narrative, you're being literal, right? So you mean like any other story, you are crafting what you want the person to think and feel along that entire journey, right?
I think it's having consistency along that journey. So making sure that you understand where they're at different stages, and making sure that the story you're telling feels known to them because we've talked to them at other stages of the journey. It should feel like one experience from top to bottom. I will say, however, what it doesn't mean is that you have the same message at every stage of the funnel. It's one larger story, one larger platform that you're working with, but the messages would be tailored to the different experiences of the journey itself. And really how you know that it is fulsome and bought into is with your teams being aligned on that strategy and making sure that they're all sharing the same vision for what it should be.
Okay, so the second key element you noted was about platform specific and kind of omni-channel expertise. What is it that you mean by that?
Yes, in order to execute on that full funnel creative that can both convert as well as build the brand, it's really about being able to craft distinct and unique creative that resonates with your audience in those unique interactions with a platform or a channel. So you do this by having a really deep understanding of the platform that you're working in. It's their best practices, what the experience is for the user, kind of its faults and how people use it and interact with it. It's only then that you can really build upon that and bring it to life in a way that is meaningful to the audience at that point in time. And the expertise that comes with, or how you build that expertise, is really by leaning into the partners that we have. A lot of people have people they can reach out to from a media perspective, as well as just having a great understanding, utilizing it yourself, and understanding how those different platforms work.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have maybe an example that you can share with a specific platform?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're diving into, for instance, the intricacies of Reddit, we know that that audience is highly engaged. We know that they are there for content, they are there for reading. You can have liberties in the way that you speak on Reddit that are slightly different than you might have on another social platform. People are highly engaged and want to have conversations. So you know that how you approach that would be very different than you would in a more formal LinkedIn or another place like that. Same with TikTok, for example. People are looking for native inspired content. They want it to feel like TikTok. Long gone are the days of repurposing your ad and just slapping it onto the new channel and hoping it works. TikTok is a whole other realm and a level of transparency and a level of uniqueness that you need to create that really speaks to the people on that channel. So you need to go in with that perspective and the understanding of what people are wanting when they get there. And by having that deep understanding of the platforms, we're not only able to serve people what they're looking for, when they're looking for it, how they're looking for it, but it allows us to bring back that full funnel narrative and make sure that we're being really true to the brand within the platform itself.
And lastly, you identified unique ideas from unexpected insights as the final key to full funnel success, which sounds very provocative. Can you tell us a little bit more by what you mean by that?
It's about the creative being as unique as the customers that you serve. It's going beyond sort of the expected knowledge that you have of that customer, beyond your customer profile and knowing what they do every day, and really digging into what they're feeling, what they're thinking, and being able to kind of narrow in on what they need, be it on a specific platform, be it on a specific channel, what they need at that moment in time, and pulling insights about what they're feeling. It's really about finding the right tech and the right talent in order to uncover those insights. So whether you're using social listening, whether you're using social trends, whether it's about forecasting, a whole blend of data to really come to bring that to life and pull insights. And it's by tapping into those authentic motivators that you're really going to create more than just content. You're going to create connection with your audience, which is ultimately going to lead to trust. It's going to lead to loyalty and engagement, all the things that you want from your brand. And this is really what we call Humanology at JK.
Kate, for many years now, you have been delivering successful full funnel creative strategy. Can you perhaps walk us through an example of how you use these three key elements to help achieve success for a client?
Our recent work with Mitsubishi Canada is actually a great example of this methodology come to life. It was born out of an integrated creative and media strategy that was pulled from real-time analytics, from forecasting, from digital trends. And then we used AI to really determine how to best express and invest against that strategy. The crux of the strategy was really born out of bringing to life their brand platform of Drive Your Ambition. So we developed a strong, compelling, emotional upper funnel brand spot. We then took that story and applied it sort of at the mid funnel to bring Drive Your Ambition to life with Reddit content, as well as kind of during the Olympics, we had sponsored content that really brought that idea of ambition to life. And then we introduced new mediums at the lower funnel. We introduced a digital flyer, which was the first time for an automotive brand, that really allowed us to keep that storytelling going, but also not lose sight of the fact that we were focused on offers and incentives at that stage of the journey.
Kate, that sounds like it was a great campaign, but did it drive results?
Absolutely. It paid off in the end. I will say that there was an uplift in familiarity as well as purchase intent within the first quarter of running. With our Reddit as well as our Globe and Mail initiatives, we almost doubled our projected impressions that we were hoping to have. And overall, they had the best sales quarter that they've ever had with Mitsubishi Canada. We were 39% over what we had in fiscal 23.
So as we start to wrap up, let's tackle a few quick questions that we hear often. Number one would be, what is the first step towards moving into a full funnel creative approach?
I would say ensure that your creative team and your media team are working together, whether it's within your own walls, whether it's with the agency that you're working with. You have talent on both sides of the table, and bringing them together is only going to benefit you and bring you stronger strategies in the end.
So how do other marketing strategies like organic social or influencers fit into all of this?
So they should be built into that integrated plan. As we kind of echo back to that full funnel narrative that we have, that story should be strong enough to branch off into different mediums. So when we talk about a plan for organic social, or we talk about an influencer strategy bringing it forward, they would all be born out of that same story.
Next question, how do businesses know which platform or channel to use at each stage of the journey?
It's really about getting to know the platform and your partners that go along with them. I know a lot of people have sales reps or people that they can reach out to in order to learn more about the platform. I know there are webinars you can take if you're not sort of at that level of interaction with the brand. You can also just get involved with the platforms themselves. The more you use it, the more you start to understand the type of content it serves, the point in time of what the audience yourself feel like receiving, and then you can better tailor your creative to really answer those needs.
Lastly, we cannot end our conversation without talking about AI. So what role does AI play in all of this?
AI plays a role at every stage of the journey, whether it is really from building the strategy and developing those strong insights right down to developing the assets. AI creates an opportunity for us to make sure that we're creating really differentiated, relevant, and personalized content for our audience at every stage of the funnel.
This has been a great conversation about building equity with brand and performance marketing. Kate, thank you for your time and expertise.
Of course, thank you for having me.
To learn more about performance media and full funnel creative, check out our previous Humanology on Air episode, which is The Art of Data and How Performance Media Drives Measurable Results. This is Humanology on Air. Thank you for joining us.